So Rosh Hashanah is coming up. I have no idea what what you've covered about Rosh Hashanah or not. There's a real question about Rosh Hashanah. If what they tell us is true, that the good are sentenced to life. I don't mean life imprisonment. They're given life. The wicked, death. And the people in the middle are given until Yom Kippur to do tshuva. There have been so many Rosh Hashanahs and Yom Kippurs, and there are so many wicked people that are still alive. Why didn't they all drop dead? What happened? What happened? They did tshuva. We wish they did tshuva. There are evil people walking the streets. What's with our enemies? How are they still around? Why are they still terrorists? Why are they murderers? The Gemara tells us the wicked in their lifetime are considered dead. What does that mean? Rosh Hashanah, we daven for life. I think what's most important on Rosh Hashanah is how you define life, what it is that you're asking for. What is it that you're asking for? We find an incident in the Chumash. Yosef ended up in Egypt. Then he brings his brothers after he reveals who he is. He brings the family down to Egypt because there's famine. And he brings his father, Yaakov Avinu, to Paro. So there's a very interesting exchange there. Paro finds himself looking at the oldest human being he's ever seen. And he asks him a very simple question. Kama yumei shnei chayecha. How old are you? In a good Jewish tradition, Yaakov Avinu gives him a whole sermon. That's you got to hear. So he tells him, Yemei Shnei Megurai, the days that I have dwelled, Shloshim U'Mashana are 130 years. Ma'at V'Ra'im, few and difficult, Yemei Shnei Chayai, were the years that I lived. V'lo hisigu, they do not match up to Yemei Shnei Chayei Avosai, the years that my ancestors lived, Bimei Megureihem, in the days that they dwelled. I'm sure you didn't follow me. What's going on here? This is so complex. What's Yaakov Avinu telling Paro? One of the most brilliant commentaries on Chumash is Sforno. What's so beautiful about his commentary, it's printed in very fine print in the Chumash, is that he's very, very, very true to the words. An accurate reading of every word. And he says that Paro sees Yaakov Avinu as an old man, and he asks him, how many years have you lived? So Yaakov corrects him. And he's telling him, all of my wrinkles are not a sign of how many years I have lived. They're only a sign of how many years I've been around, what he calls dwelling. I've been around for 130 years. In answer to the question of how long I've lived, not all that much. Now, Yaakov Avinu's life was very difficult. From the womb, he had a roommate, Esav, who tried to kill him growing up. He fled him. He found himself in the house of Lavan, who was noted for his dishonesty and eventually wanted to kill him. Comes back. And what do you know? Esav's back with 400 warriors, survives that one. Dinah is kidnapped. Yosef disappears. That was his life. Not only that, it says that all of the years that Yosef was gone, he lost his prophecy so that he should not know where Yosef was. Which means that not only did he have a difficult physical life, but so much of his spiritual greatness was diminished for a nice amount of time there. So he says, how long have I lived? Very little. And it was difficult. And it does not compare to the amount of days that my ancestors lived when they dwelt, when they were around. What Yaakov Avinu is teaching us is that life is not about breathing and what we call staying alive. On Rosh Hashanah, when we plead for life, what are we asking for? Do we be kept out of the hospital? Do we be spared disease? Is that all we're asking for? What does it mean to be alive? To be alive is to grow. To be alive is to be productive. To be alive is to share. When you ask for life, you have to know that. The wicked are considered dead because you know why they're around? They were really sentenced to death. They're not given any opportunity. You know why they're here? Because if all the wicked would drop dead, number one, everyone would realize it doesn't pay to be wicked. There would be no free will anymore because it would be so obvious. Plus, Hashem needs some wicked people around to test us. But they're not really alive. They're here making trouble. They're not alive. They're growing, they're sharing, they have opportunity to become greater people. What we're asking for on Rosh Hashanah is life. What we're commemorating is the day Hashem created human life. Human life to us is defined so much differently than animal life. Yes, for animals, you can define life as cells duplicating themselves. For the human being, that's not life, that's animal life, that's plant life. For human beings, life is to grow, it's to shine, to be there for others, to be able to help others. That's what it means to be alive. I think so much of what we call judgment on Rosh Hashanah is that since this is the day that life is available, Hashem wants every one of us to define what do we want when we ask for life. What does life mean to you? You have to sit down with yourselves and ask yourselves, what does it mean? Is it enough that you're healthy? Is it enough that no one bothers you? Existence qualifies for life? Is that what you're asking for? I hope not, because that may all be, that may be the sum total of what you get. Prepare yourself for Rosh Hashanah by thinking, what do you mean when you say life? What are you asking for? You want to be the greatest person you can. That's why you came here. You're asking Hashem for opportunity. You're asking Hashem for the strength and the wisdom to be able to really stick it out, make demands on yourselves, become so much greater than you are today, and certainly grow with time over the years. You can even think about the image of what you'd like to turn into. Where you'd like to see yourself in another 10 years. What is your place in the Jewish nation? What kind of person do you want to be? Do you want to be giving, caring, patient, happy? Put all of that into your prayer for life. So Rosh Hashanah is the day that human life is given out year after year. What do you have to do to get it? You have to want it. You're defining the life you're asking for. Do you want life, or do you just want existence? There's a famous medrash that he who sleeps on Rosh Hashanah, his mazal is going to sleep all year. So it became the superstition. People don't nap on Rosh Hashanah. This is not superstition. If you're dead tired and can't think and can't concentrate, take a nap. What it's referring to is, why do people sleep? How much sleep do you really need? Do you ever notice you can sleep 14 hours? You can sleep 3 hours? How much sleep do you really need? Doesn't it depend on what stage of life and what's going on? When you're into something, you can get away with almost no sleep. When you're not into anything, you get up after 14 hours of sleep and you're still tired. It's a sign of how much you want to live. Sleep is often just a cop-out, a way of opting out of having to put up with the struggles of life. To go to sleep on Rosh Hashanah so that you don't have to bother thinking about Rosh Hashanah is terrible. Because what Rosh Hashanah is all about is life, being alive. You've made a conscious, intelligent decision to take a nap so that your brain will work? Wonderful. You really want to run away from life? On Rosh Hashanah, that's the worst day to do it. So live, define life in an intelligent way, and ask for it. And may Hashem grant you it. Have a meaningful Rosh Hashanah. We'll see you all next year.